Hey YouTube, Alex here, and in today's video I want to talk about this concept that I think may help some of you who are further away from retirement. I know that my audience ranges of all ages, but I want you to consider the concept of a 5-year plan. And before I get into the subject, definitely subscribe if you haven't already, and you can join us for many more good videos. So anyway, this 5-year plan concept, well, a lot of people wonder, when did you start wanting to live abroad? And, is it recent? Did you just go on a trip and all of a sudden decide you wanted to do it? Well, I did first leave the country about 5 years ago, but that wasn't when I really made up my mind I wanted to try living in other countries. Really, that came about 3.5 years ago. So about 3.5 years ago, I visited Thailand for wisdom tooth removal. And I can't believe it's been 3.5 years, but I really enjoyed the visit. I had a wonderful time. I spent about a month in Chiang Mai and a couple of nights in Bangkok, and it was just a really great trip. And I realized at that point, hey, I want to do this long term. I want to live over here long term. In my unique case, I don't really have family in the U.S., so that's not a factor that would keep me in the U.S. And so really the major obstacle is finances. And so I realized I didn't want to teach English. I didn't have experience teaching English, but I've just talked to friends that teach English, and I realized it's just not for me, at least not long term. I'm not above doing it in the short term, but I just don't think it's something that I'd be happy with to do for years. So anyway, I realized at that point that I needed some kind of skill where I could make money, but I could do that anywhere in the world. And so I started to consider the digital skills out there. I started learning about software development. I realized I really want to be a software developer, but the more I learn about this, the more it's looking like it's going to be a multi-year commitment to get good enough at this that I can work in other countries, that I can be trusted enough to complete the work in a timely manner, to be able to do some of this stuff independently, where I'm not needing to meet with managers all the time at odd hours because I'm living in another country. And so that was really the turning point. And I decided, well, I'm going to go back eventually. I'm going to go for a coding boot camp and see how I like it. And if I like it, I'm going to go back for a computer science degree. And I feel like with a computer science degree, that's going to be a sign of a major commitment to programming. So when I go to employers looking to basically work from them but live in many other countries outside the US, that they feel like I'm committed to the process as well. So yeah, that's really where I'm at in my journey. Is it's been about 3.5 years since I made that decision, and it's looking like I could very well finish my classes in about 1.5 years. And if that's the case, then it's possible I find a fully remote employer to start working for, and I'm able to live in other parts of the world starting in 1.5 years, but not just go for a month or a few months, but go for multiple years on end. There's a number of places that I'm really interested in living in, but I'd only be able to afford to do that, or at least feel comfortable doing that, if I had a solid income. And so that's really where I'm at in my journey. I just kind of wanted to get into this subject. Definitely let me know down in the comments where you're at. Have you ever considered a 5-year plan? Is that something that you've thought about? Are you already working on your 5-year plan? Are you close to the end of your 5-year plan? Let us know down in the comments, because I think there's a lot of different perspectives as far as where we all are in this journey. And I kind of wanted to document my journey and also to answer some of these questions to help some of you to be better informed and to have a more enjoyable experience as far as once you get to where you need to be financially or in your personal life, that you're able to go abroad with less kind of personal or financial baggage, less headaches, and to really enjoy it and not be caught up in the stresses of your home country. As far as your 5-year plan is concerned, think about it. Think about what you might start to work on if you wanted to plan out a 5-year target to be living in another country. Maybe the first few months, you just brainstorm, how am I going to make money? That's the first thing that you really need to address more than anything else when you are living in another country, is how you're going to make money if you don't already have money. Part of that is going to, when we'll talk about this in another video, but paying off debts, saving an emergency fund, and then kind of assessing what your monthly cash flow will be versus how much you're going to be spending every month. But like I said, that's another video. But really, you should be looking at that for the first 2 months, is how am I going to pay my bills, and then start to work on some of the earlier steps in the plan. Also, as far as picking out regions that you'd like to experience for exploratory trips, it kind of depends on your finances, like I said, how much money you make. But in my mind, you shouldn't be going into your first country abroad thinking, this is 100% going to be my forever country. I'm not going to say that won't happen. I just find that a lot of people want to try the variety of places that are out there and find something that's right for them. Some people, they go to Thailand and they don't like it as much as the Philippines. Vice versa, some will go to the Philippines and, oh, I prefer Thailand. That's just one example, but you really ought to be considering what it is that you really want out of a place, and kind of taking notes and comparing, because you don't want to get super attached to a place, sign a long-term lease, and make a lot of social commitments and sign up for different kinds of things, whatever it may be, and then find out you just really don't care for the place. There's a few places I've been, and I really enjoy them on vacation, but I would never live in these places. They're just not practical places for me to live my day-to-day life. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't done the exploratory trip. I might have thought, oh wow, that looks like a beautiful place, or oh wow, that looks like a really wonderful place to go, and signed up for an extended amount of time there, and then found out later, hey, that's not really for me. There's something that I just don't really care for in the long term. And so be aware of that. Be aware of that when you are making your 5-year plan. I wouldn't necessarily say, okay, here today I'm starting at a certain point, and 5 years from now everything will be totally finalized. When I thought about my 5-year plan and conceptualizing it, I thought more in 5 years. So yeah, just tell us about... So yeah, I hope this video has been helpful. Definitely discuss your 5-year plan down in the comments below if you're open to talking about that. I think it's really a good idea to have this kind of long-sighted view to kind of remind you of what you're working toward, because I feel like with some expats, some people that want to be expats, we get caught up in the day-to-day and we don't really think about our long-term plan, our vision, why we want to go and live abroad, what's taking us overseas, the feelings or thoughts. Maybe it's financial, and kind of evaluate your reasons and make sure they're good reasons for going abroad. The last thing I'd recommend is for somebody who won't find happiness overseas to go and try to find that. So definitely consider that your 5-year plan could be very different from my 5-year plan. I know it works for me, and what works for me may be very different for what works for you, but thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know what you think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you soon.